Righto, so we're going to start on the first of our three project cabinets we got from Highway Entertainment the other day. So I was going to start with that orange one there. I was talking about that today and we had a look at them and we decided we're going to start with our Mercury Game Wizards prototype cabinet. So I'll show you what we've got and what we plan to do with it. So to start with, I've got a power cable, plugged it into the monitor, it works. It's in an inconvenient spot, so you might cut a chunk of that out and try to find a right angled power plug for that. I think this monitor actually has a 12 volt input as well, but I don't have a cable for that, so we'll go with the 240 volt input. And once we get this a bit lower, right, give us a second, let's take that off. Mount the monitor. Well, I'm thinking I've got this bit of like jute rock corner stuff goes on there, jute rock. We screw that to there somewhere. I have to drill some of these holes out a little bit bigger, but we can use that. Maybe space it out a little bit up to that hole there. We can use that as a top mount. Bottom mount is straightforwards. In the corners down here, there's a screw hole, and that can just go straight into the timber. That will hold our monitor in place. Once we figure out the monitor's going to be, we'll get the chisel out, the dodgy chisel or something out, the hole saw, cut a little bit of that out to make a gap for the power cord. The other major issue is this mysterious gap here. So what I'm thinking of doing is, once the monitor's going to sit about there somewhere, we've got this bit of timber here that had come from Bunnings. I'm just going to cut the width of the cabinet off, and I'm just going to put it straight off the top of the monitor. So it's going to have like a bit of a air gap around here. It hasn't got light in the top of this, so I won't worry the light getting in or out. And that'll cover that gap up. Because I said before, this is like a prototype machine, so it's not totally finished as well as it could be. So I've done a bit of cutting, shutting, and changing on this over time. So yeah, we'll put that there, fill that gap up, and it'll look good. The Game Wizard had a play instructions, the same as in the top of this game over here. So once we've got that bit of wood there, we'll stick them on that bit of wood anyhow, so you won't see it. And I'll tell people how to get the game working. And then after that, all it needs is to wire up our controllers. It's already got these harnesses on them. I've got the jammer harness here. I found I have at least one of these left. These have got connectors for the controllers on them, but they're different connectors, so wherever they are, there they are. So we'll just snip them off, cut them off, and just join them, solder them, tape them up. They'll get controls working. Plus what we're going to have to do, right angle plug, we're going to have to cut out, slide this bit out of there. Right, there it is, somewhere there. Cut the slightest bit out of there, just to make that fit. Then we can attach our bracket in the top here. So I took a bit of chunk out there, we just used a drill to stake the holes, took it out. So got plenty of strength about it. If you see here, the pencil we've marked the mark here for our bracket. So just a minute, we'll attach this bracket on here. We should be able to mount our monitor in permanently. So there's our monitor mounted, a couple of screws in the bottom. Around the back here we've got our DIY bracket. So a few screws in, or half dozen screws going into the wood. 2 screws going into the monitor itself, and that is not going anywhere. So next step is to put our black bit of timber coming up here, I reckon. We'll see how we go with that. So there we go, we've got our bit of timber in there. Looks pretty good actually. Drill 3 holes for the side, hold it in. We missed a little bit over here, so put an extra screw in there. It'll be okay. So yeah, so we've got a bracket. You should still be able to get the screen out, even with that bit of timber there, undoing them 2 screws if you have to. But yeah, it looks much more finished. So the next step is connecting the controllers. So I've separated out these plugs. So we're just going to cut these off. Cut the ones off the controllers. and just splice them all in. Take a dozen wires each one, take a little while. Let's have a look at the rest of this harness here. About looking at the instructions, that's going to be, hopefully, that's going to be the audio. Should plug straight into our little subwoofer that come with the cabinet. That's power, 12-volt power run and monitor. We won't be using that with this one. We use 24 volts. That's the go to your power supply if you're using a regular arcade style power supply. I'm not sure what we're using yet for this one. We'll be using that or a computer type one. And yeah, otherwise here they're probably going to be service switches, maybe player 1, 2. Look that up. And over here we've got it's your VGA plug and some power probably for the boards that they're using. So yeah, no, we'll get these controllers spliced in and we'll be back to show the result. As you scratch the idea, just found out this jammer harness came with these plugs. All the little connectors that go into the wires. Just got to pull these off here one at a time. I think they've even got the same colour code. They look like the same colours, but I have to double check that. And that will make it a really neat job. So, we'll get that swapped over and then we'll be back. So there we go. I put them connectors on up there. I think these controls have their own little special plugs. So we had to splice the 4 wires for the connectors into the harness. But that is that part of the wiring done. Right now that we've got our wiring for controls all connected, I reckon we're going to close it up. Get in the back here, and we'll put a board in here and some power to the screen, connect to the screen, just give it a test to make sure it's all working like it should. This PC looking power supply, they're on the board. Normally these have an extra connector on here that goes to your motherboard of the PC, and you cut the green and the black wire, join them together, and that makes it run. But this one doesn't have that, so maybe it's just made to run on the 12 volts and 5 volts straight up. So we'll plug that in, try that out. Here's the connector to the jammer harness. We've got our power for our monitors already there. And we might even plug the subwoofer in and give it a test. I'll find some cables, plug these in with, and we'll give it a go. Yeah, so let's take up these power connectors just in case. Don't join anything up, doesn't need to be joined up. It looks like, I think this jammer harness is actually pretty good. It's got like these connections here, which I reckon go straight into our subwoofer. But also somewhere here has a 12 volt connector to run like a 12 volt arcade monitor. So you still might wire this one out differently, but we'll get this going for now and give it a test and see if we have success or not. Let's have a look on this here. Inputs are down here. They both say input. Why does it say input there and input there? One's going to be the speakers, one's going to be sound in. I reckon more likely these two. I would think these ones here are going to be the speakers. We'll find out in a minute. Should have a broken wire on that, on the volume control there, so but we'll worry about that later. Right, we'll go find a couple of jug leads and we'll give this a test. Right, so I found one jug lead just to run the power supply. I'll find some more, we'll buy some more. Put a VGA cable to the screen, so we've got VGA at the moment. This screen does HDMI, it does all sorts of stuff, it does touchscreen. But for what we're using it for, that's all we're going to need. I'm not sure if these it's got jumpers on the side of that, they might need changing, but let's just turn it on and see what happens. Ooh, plug that in properly. There we go. Got power there, we've got power in our game board. Let's get a look at the screen. There we go, Game Wizard, VGA input. So we have action. Let's just try hit anything. About We were talking about the scan the other day, a bit of double dragon. There's the screen loading. Now if this is the right game, we'll find out. So it needs credits. And that credits up when you do that. Right, this is some sort of other double dragon. I was expecting the two brothers running along the street fighting. We'll see if our controller works. Yeah. Oh, someone's getting. Oh, Billy's struggling. One hander's not to go. Yeah, kicks, jumps. Yeah. We'll see if the controls will work. Oh. And Billy's done for, but there we go. We have pictures, we have power. Next step is to tie it all up. Get the power supply mounted properly, get the sound working. And that's nearly a completed project. Right, so we've been to local Bunnings. We've got this bit of timber here. Make a back out of it, paint it satin black. Looks a bit heavy on the screen, doesn't look too bad in real life. And then we also got about all the jug cords that I had in stock. And some little brackets. We're going to mount our little, might use them just to screw into our subwoofer. Just to, one each corner, hold in place. To rearrange all this inside here. Maybe some brackets can hold that power supply in place. Yeah, so I might, this here's got a broken wire in it, so fix that up. Actually, that might be long enough. I might just mount that right there. And I reckon we'll get some of that, more of that metal bracket that we use like that. And we'll put the volume knob just behind the cover so we can just drill a hole in it so you can change the volume. Because sometimes people mount them like outside like that and they get knocked off when you lay them on their back to transport them. So we'll put it inside the machine. Yeah, let's get a hole saw, make a bit of a hole there, put your hand in, turn it. Then we've got to figure out how we're going to run our power cable out of the back of it. And do that. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to fix this wire here. I'm going to put another power lead in, connect the subwoofer up and see how it sounds. There we go, fix up the volume cable. We'll mount it down there later on. Got a power board now, got 3 power cables, everything else in here. We're going to tie up all this extra junk on this jammer harness. Once it's finished, make sure we don't need any of these cables. You know, because we could run it on a regular power supply, or we could change things up. But for now, we'll just give it a quick test. We'll plug it in, see what it sounds like. If it has sound. Starts. Let's go around the front and have a look. Right, apparently there's a lot of sound. We'll turn that down. On full. That sounds really good actually with the proper speakers of the subwoofer. Right, with that, I reckon we're going to call that part 1 of our Mercury project. The first of 3 games we've got here to work on. Yeah, so with the next video, we'll just finish it off. We'll work on tying up the back, do some of the artwork on the side, see if we can salvage the artwork on this side, and just finish it off. But for now, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that sort of stuff, and we'll back next time and finish this one off.